Hey everybody! Today I am sharing a layout with you that I did for a challenge over at FelicityJane.com. And Felicity Jane is a kit club, but you don't have to be a member of the club, or you don't have to subscribe to their kits to do this challenge. But what I did here is, since I am a subscriber, I took the I Am kit and I used that to back a cut file that I purchased from the cut shop on Etsy, and it's called the All Heart Remix. So I took that and put it on my paper, and then I traced around all the hearts. And of course I didn't show you that whole process, I showed you a little bit of it. And so now I have to cut out all these hearts, and that is what took me the longest in my process. And so I'm going to show you the first few where I'm getting those glued down. But as I kept going, it was getting a little difficult for me. I had to line things up because you can't really see it here, but there was like a white stripe that goes around in this circle, and so I had to try and get all of those lined up as I was placing them in the hearts. So I ended up cutting them out and then getting them, like, turning it over and putting all of them in there so that I could actually see it and line it up, and then I would pick a piece up and put some glue and then stick it down and go around and around and around. So it did take me some time to do this, but I really like the way it turned out, and you'll see that soon. I think I show you this one gluing that down, and then I skip ahead because it's, like I said, very time consuming. So there you go, you can see the finished product there. And so then I decided I wanted to put some gold color shine down before I put the hearts down. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit. I mainly focus on the upper left and the lower right, but I do sprinkle just a little bit all over. And then I'm trying to figure out which way I want to place it on here, because there were some of my hearts that didn't totally line up, so I was trying to put it in a way that I knew that part would be covered. So, and now I'm going to get the photo matted on a piece of pattern paper from the I Am collection from Felicity Jane, and this one had little hearts, and it's really cute pattern, and just soft colors. So I'm just getting it matted and trimmed down, and I'm going to mat it again on a piece of light pink pattern paper. And then I will also mat it on some of the tissue paper that the kits come packaged in. And all of the kits come beautifully packaged in a really pretty black and white striped box. And then you open it up, and there's a black ribbon tying it shut over the tissue paper. So I'm using some of the tissue paper because I do save a lot of the tissue paper from my Felicity Jane kits. And I'm trying to trim it with my trimmer, but that wasn't working too good. It got caught. So I'm just going to use it as another matting piece, and I just kind of fold it up a little bit in the middle. And then I'm going to pop it up on some dimensional adhesive, and which will actually help in the end. I put dimensional adhesive behind my photo, and I put it on the back of the tissue paper, and that kind of helps to get the heart stuck down to my white cardstock in the end. But right now I was trying to decide which cardstock or which pattern paper I wanted to use. There was a pretty mint green polka dot one, and I considered doing that one, but then I went with this light pink. And so it's just a really soft pink, really pretty, with a pattern through it. So I took that and put that behind the other piece of paper, and now I'm going to take and put that on my tissue paper. So I'm going to use dimensional adhesive, and I'm going to stick that down to the tissue paper, and so there I am putting the dimensional adhesive on there. And I do try and stay away from the edges in case I want to pop stuff underneath there. So now I'm going to put that on top of my tissue paper and trim that down just a little bit. And then I think I popped that whole thing up again. Yes. So I'm going to put more dimensional adhesive on this. And then I'll get that stuff down in just a second. So I get that where I want it, and it's kind of sticking to my mat, so I'm like, oh, okay, that's good, because then it will stick really good to my cardstock. So now I try and get that centered the best I can, and I'm going to stick that down on my white cardstock background. And so then I decide I want to pop up around the edges under the largest hearts. So I just cut off my dimensional adhesive off the roll and just pop it under each little piece of that. I didn't show you that whole process because it's, took me just a little bit of time. And it's not very interesting either. So, and then I put just a little bit of wet adhesive under the second row of hearts just to make sure it was adhered down. I don't think I really needed to do that because the dimensional adhesive was holding it in the center, but I did it anyways just to be sure because I don't want to go back to my album one day and find it falling off of the paper. So then I pulled out the stamps and I started looking at the stamps to see if I might want to do something with those, which I will eventually, just not yet. And so then I pulled out some of the embellishments. There's some little sequins and some flare buttons, and the flare all have gold on them this month. Oh, they are totally to die for. I was swooning over those big time. So I picked one that was gold with a white heart in the center. And so then we had our alphabet in this kit was actually from, I think, the 7 papers, or I forget what it's called, but it's, I think, Studio Calico 7. And so I thought I was going to use those, but it wasn't standing out enough for me. So I'm going to go ahead and lay it out, but because my title is going to be I Am Lucky. But it just wasn't bold enough for me. So I went and found something from one of the word lucky from the Amy Tangerine thickers, and they were craft, so I just sprayed them with Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine and stuck it down with hot glue since all my stuff was popped up. And so then I had this tag because we also get a cutout sheet, and they're already backed. They're on adhesive cardstock, so you don't even have to put glue on them. Although I did end up leaving the adhesive on the back of it because I was fighting with it, so I said, oh, never mind. So I end up taking the stamp from the stamp that came in the kit, and I picked a stamp that said I Am. And so I just had to get my placement on that correct and figure out where I want it because I knew I was going to tilt the tag just a little bit. So, and I did practice on a little sticky note piece of paper, a post-it note, before I did the real thing just to make sure I would get a clean stamp. So there you see, I stamped it there on the tag, and I just used my Crop-A-Dile to punch a hole in the tag. And I did put some twine through the tag that actually came in my December Felicity Jane kit, and it's white with gold. Really pretty thick twine. So I looped some of that through there, and then I put some dimensional adhesive behind the left side of the tag since everything was popped up. And then I just took my ATG gun and ended up using it on the right side of the tag so that I could stick it underneath my photo. And I did go around the edge of the tag because I didn't feel like it was really popping out enough with the colors that I already had over on that side. So I just took some of my Tim Holtz Distress ink in the black soot and just edged around it. And then you just saw me, I used my Crop-A-Dile and I just punch a hole in it. And then I'm going to get my twine. And I've just had this twine sitting on out on my desk because I really like it. So it's almost gone. I've used almost all of it. So I get that threaded through my tag. And then I get my placement set on that. And playing with the twine. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cough going on. So I put some ATG on there, and I do have the dimensional adhesive on the back of the tag. So I get it stuck in place the way I want it. And I did not pull off the adhesive on the back of my dimensional adhesive. And I do that a lot, like under my hearts, I didn't pull off the backing on it. So it doesn't really stick to the page, which is kind of nice because it can raise up more, but it still keeps it elevated, if you know what I mean. So now I am stamping my date on another cutout that I used. And I didn't pull the backing off of that either, since it was kind of popped up already. So, and now you see me fiddle with my tiny attacher. I stapled, but I didn't even catch the paper. I just got it on my tag. And I didn't want to staple again, so I just lined it up, and then I stapled the right side, and I got it through the layers on the right side. So I then go and take my Scotch quick dry adhesive, and I squirt just a little bit under there so that I can stick down my photo matting to that tag. And when you look at it, it looks like it's stapled totally normal. So there was trying another one of the cutouts, thought I might use it had a little pink heart, and in the end I decided not to use that, but I'm going to use that gold flare. So I pull that other heart off, and I get that stuck down. I used, I'm going to use hot glue on the flare, which you won't see on camera, but I try not to do it over my actual layout because I don't want to get hot glue on my photo, because I always manage to get some sort of adhesive on my photo. It never fails. Of course, I did on this photo too. So you'll see me, I will pull out, there we go, some of the wood veneer hearts. So it seems to be my go-to thing now to cover up my little sticky spots on my pictures. So I stick that down there, and I'm going to take another one, and I'm going to play around, but I'm going to end up putting it over on that tag that says I am. I'm going to stick that down over there. And then I start looking at some of the sequins, and I use some gold ones, and I use some of the pink ones, and then there are these other, they look like sequins kind of, but they're not. I think they're made actually out of like cardstock, and then they have little gold dots on them. So I'm going to get all those stuck down, and then that's going to complete my layout. So thanks for joining me today, and at the end of this I will have some still shots coming up, and hopefully you'll join in also on the Felicity Jane Challenge. You can go to felicityjane.com and check it out, read about the challenge, and hopefully you'll join us.